All right. So the questions have clearly led me to this thought that I have, that I'd love for you to take me or us on a rampage of appreciation or fun around a topic that is pretty fascinating to me about co-creation and knowing we are always a part of it, and knowing that the things that are coming to us are part of what we're asking for in inner vortex. And I just happen to work with our wee ones, our pure positive energy children, and I also happen to work with them in the reservations of the United States. And when I walk into these environments, I work on making sure I'm in alignment when I walk in, and I'm in that flow, and the kids are like, "Oh, Teacher Nell's here, yay!" And I'm like, yes. And I'm at that point now where I feel like I'm efforting to make something come about that is in a system that has a lot of momentum going around things like they like to call, I personally try not to put names to it, and energies that are going in the wrong direction is usually what I say, but generational trauma. We were put here on this reservation, and there's just a lot of negative energy going in that way, and the children come to me, and I'm wanting to rampage about what my purpose is within their lives. Like, I feel it, I connect with them, but there's something bigger.
What is it about being with them that you like most?
Oh, the lighting up, our realization that we are aligned in that moment together. If it's play, we're having fun. We're digging for worms. We're on a magic carpet. We're having fun.
Do you feel like they are emphatically influenced or affected by their surroundings?
I don't want to believe that. I don't see it when they're with me.
Well, the reason we ask that is because when they're with you, you believe that you are affecting their surroundings.
Good point. Yeah.
And so you sort of feel like you're in competition with you being someone who can affect their surroundings, as opposed to their normal or everyday surroundings affecting their surroundings.
Yes.
And so what we're asking is, do you have any sense of trust about their inner resources? Don't they demonstrate them to you often?
Oh, yes.
And isn't that more what you want to encourage? You're talking about the influence of others, and almost always, and we know how well-meaning you are and how much of your intentionality is focused around this and how long you've been caring about this, and we are in no way wanting to suggest that there is anything less than powerful positive intentions on your part. But still, we want to help you all acknowledge that as you stand in a belief system of your own, no matter how effective it is for you, and you put yourself in a place where you feel some againstness of some other, those were your words, that there's some contradictory energy or some energy that's moving in the wrong direction, and so your very attention upon that keeps you from being who you mean to be. And so children or anyone in an environment where someone's trying to call them strongly in one direction, they feel that tug of war within themselves, which they would just as well want to do without. It's one of the things that even could happen in an environment like this. People often talk about how they are recovering Catholics, or they are recovering one thing or another, and we are never very excited about having that conversation, because we think that you are all where you are, and that where you have been is important to where you now are, and we cannot acknowledge the perfection of where you stand while we condemn where you came from. We can't encourage the openness to the more if we are critical of how you got here. We all have to be accepting of the perfection of where we now stand, and the perfection of the convergence that's brought us together. And so that's why you feel struggle and strain, because it feels like you have to push against or beat down or convince against or change the thoughts about something, when what's really going on is that the evolution of all things is happening in a perfect way. And so doesn't that sort of help to dissolve some of that discomfort just a little bit?
It does, and I definitely have those feelings going into these events. And
So now let's talk about in practical terms, because we've been talking
That's what I
philosophy
want.
for days.
Yeah.
So now let's talk in practical terms about what your response is. So give us a scenario and we'll speak it from our bird's eye view.
yeah, I walk into a meeting, and the whole meeting's about generational trauma, which is all about the past.
And what part do you play in it? Are you a participant? Are you a listener? Or are you an offerer of words also?
I'm
Is it
supposed to be all of it. you
so
know.
it's a co-creative experience. And so give us some specifics of some of those words. Even the ones you just offered are good, but something a little
Yeah.
fuller about it.
That our children are coming into classrooms carrying energy from generations before them.
Like everyone you know. That softens it a little bit. Yeah, like all of us. Remember being young? Like all of us, you could say. Now, what would happen if you said that? When you say that, what's going to happen?
At least I'll be laughing.
But what do you think the response from others is?
I usually get the big old stare down. Like, really?
Like no one knows that? Like no one thinks that they had any generational disadvantage? Like, you see,
Yeah.
because every generation is suffering this flawed premise that
Yep.
goes like this. It's supposed to be the way it was when we were here. What was before was wrong, and certainly what's coming next is wrong. This is the only thing that's right. There's a rigidity in that just does not allow the natural evolution. And so these people are individually being torn apart by that.
Yeah.
What else? What else are they saying?
That they're acting out in classrooms due to trauma, that their behaviors are expressions of their...
That their behavior
That they
are
were-
expressions of the repression that we
That's
are
right.
applying to them in their here and now.
Right. That's right. And so
What else?
that...
You have some new words to offer now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not quite ready, but you will be in a minute.
Well, that's why I'm here. I want to offer new words without getting up and leaving meetings, because I can't.
Well, you
sit
asked
in
for
it.
a rampage, but you can't start with a rampage. You have to start with the basis and then step into the new knowing that you have, and then start with their basis and step into the knowing that you have. Because it's not different in this generation or any generation, but what difference does it make what every generation before has done, or what any time-space reality has done before? Because all of your power is in the here and now, and you've got source energy pouring through you. So don't you want to converge with what they are looking for and speak in a way where they might hear it and they might not? And whether they hear it or not, as you said, you'll be having fun with it. You'll be feeling free about it.
And that's what I want,
So
more
what
than
else?
anything.
So what else?
One of the ones that hits me, and you've talked with us about it so many times, is that these children need therapy, and they need to be taught about why certain experiences are traumatizing. I'm like, why are we going to teach them about how bad this is and make it worse? And so,
Well, we'll tell you the reason that
Okay,
most
good.
are doing it is because most people understand innately that blame feels better than guilt. And so they want to help you, help others, point at reasons for why I'm standing where I don't want to be. But they forget the most important message that they are offering, and that is, I see you in a place that you shouldn't want to be. You want to talk about how unworthiness is fostered? That's how. Can you hear what we're getting at? If you say to someone, I want to help you explain what's gone wrong in your life, what does that say about your life? It's wrong. You can't get around that. And there's not an excuse in the world that will explain that away. I will do for you what I see you cannot do for yourself. Nothing more disabling or debilitating than that. So say it again. What do they say? What are the words?
we would like to give them the opportunity of therapy so that we can help them understand how trauma is impacting their behavior.
Well, I would like to do that too, you say. I would like to give them the benefit of the therapy that I have received. I'd like to give them the benefit of knowing the preciousness of who they are and the power and the value of who they are. I want them to feel their empowerment. I want them to know who they are. Sometimes I get a sense of them that they are the most powerful little beings that I've ever been around. I can feel a strength within them. I can feel that even though they've had experiences that maybe we think that they shouldn't have had, that they have a strength within them that's going to take them someplace that we have never even been ourselves yet. I'm not sure if the best therapy for them is to get as far away from us as possible.
Yeah.
But I sense, and I know you're not going to hear it the way I mean it, but I sense that they are here for our therapy. Look how playful they are, and look how open they are, and look at the absence of evidence of trauma that they display so much of the time. What's wrong with us? What is it that we are wanting to give to them when they seem to have more to give to us right now? You feel that, don't you? What else? You're going to get fired, you know.
I know. I want to give you an awesome momentum story. So I've been rampaging myself and working on getting into that space. And so I walked in the classroom just a week ago, and I'm only there about 10 days of the year. I'm a teacher of teachers, and I oftentimes get to teach the children. And I walk in, and literally the children are like, oh, well, Teacher Nell's here. Oh, she can teach us today. And I'm like, that's not usually my job. Is there no teacher here today? And the other adult in the room, she's an 18-year-old student. She goes, no, the teacher's not coming today. And I said, oh yeah, no, the teacher came. And I taught. And they were like, can you do that jumping game? And can you do this game? And they remembered every game we'd ever played, which was amazing. And the next day, the teacher comes, and she's crying. And she's this beautiful woman, a Crow native. And I said, Rochelle, how can I help you? I'll co-teach with you. I'll teach today. Whatever we need to do, let's go for it and build a positive energy for the kids so we can help this room carry itself today. And she goes, well, my niece was beat by her boyfriend and then set on fire, and she's alive, but she's most likely going to die. And the FBI came, and they've been staying in our houses. And I sat there and I just stared at her, and I didn't have this energy slump. I was like, oh, that's why I got to teach yesterday, and that's why I'll teach today. And I said, no problem. I'll do whatever. You jump in when you need to jump in. And it was just that where convergence of thought happens, and you feel that impulses that this is where it's at right now. And it's the modeling of what radiating energy is, and the modeling of how children respond to that, and showing them their worthiness and their love and have fun, that she, at the end of the day, she's like, thank you so much. That was really a fun day.
We want to talk about the convergence of currents. We want to talk about the energy that flows from non-physical. We want to talk about the streams of consciousness that take place on your physical planet. We want to talk about belief systems and the hold that they have on you. Mm-hmm. We want to talk about where your true resources come from and what your true energy stream is about. We want to talk about what the children are still more likely to tap into, because what you demonstrate here in this story is what so many people are feeling when the reality of their life distracts them from this vortex that we are talking about. And even for a room like this, who is reaching for and wanting, and in most cases finding, and were with us as we were rampaging, they took a big dip in their energy when they heard your story about something that's so awful. Mm-hmm. Because you just can't think about something like that without it representing for you the bad things that happen in life that get your attention. Mm-hmm. So really what we're talking about all day, every day, is how to separate the what is from the what is wanted.